Hi Woodfolk, my name is the Meta Goblin and today I'm going to be talking about the Skyrim Special Edition once again. A lot of people had had a go at me last time, claiming that I have something against game developers making money, and actually you couldn't be more wrong. I mean, I'm not some pot-smoking hippie. I want developers to be making money, as much money as possible, so that they can push the industry forward and make more quality games, and obviously push the technology forward as well. There's absolutely nothing wrong with making money by publishing quality games. However, there is a problem. I have a problem personally with developers using easy cash-in roguish tactics to make money rather than doing some actual work. I mean, fair enough, it's better to work smart than hard, but at the end of the day, sometimes you're taking the absolute Michael. Anyway, this leads on to my first reason as to why I don't particularly like the idea of a Skyrim Special Edition, since it is a painfully obvious. It's kind of like it's a very obvious method to accumulate money over an extremely popular franchise with minimum effort from the actual developers. I mean, we're seeing a lot of remasters pop up these days. I mean, have people forgot that, how to make games? Are people running out of ideas or something? I mean, most of them have an extremely, really bad business model, and that's simply because they cost too much. I mean, fair enough, it's not just it's not a full first release price. You're not looking at 50 quid. But £35 is still quite a lot of money and doesn't really warrant a bit of a graphics update. Really, there should be like a £5 to £10 DLC. I mean, you have to pay for it like a completely new game, and you can still buy the original unmastered game. So I mean, it's a bit kind of dodgy. My second reason is, well, why the hell isn't Morrowind or Oblivion getting a remaster? I mean, fair enough, there is a modding team working on a Morrowind revamp, which would probably affect the sales of a Morrowind remaster, so fair enough, but let's be honest, I mean, when's that ever going to be released? But if Oblivion was remastered, even if it was just copy and pasted into the Skyrim engine, or it just looked like Oblivion, I mean, with an E&B mod, then I would definitely pay for money for that. I mean, in fact, I would probably pay like £50 for that. I'm not saying that it should cost £50, but that is literally how excited I would be. I mean, a reasonable price for that kind of thing would be £15 to £20, I would say, for an very old game getting remastered. But like for a fairly recent game, I mean, it's £35 is anyway. Let's get back to the script. And plus, I think Oblivion deserves a remaster more than Skyrim. I mean, Skyrim's graphics aren't exactly, dated that much, but holy crap, I mean, Oblivion's is really dated, especially those face models that we all know and love. And I think Oblivion is just quite an unnoticed game compared to Skyrim. I mean, people still refer to the Elder Scrolls as Skyrim. I mean, what's going on there? Because, people barely know about the previous games really, because Skyrim was the one that attracted the most people to the franchise, and a lot of things in Oblivion were done better, in ways better than Skyrim. But I won't talk about that too much in case I get into trouble again. You could even do a remaster of Daggerfall or Arena and release it for an Android or iPhone. I mean, you could probably even do that tomorrow in these days, because phones are just so good these days. I mean, overall, remastering a 5-year-old game just seems a little unnecessary, but the problem is, with the older games, is that they're a little bit more complicated, and therefore it will not appeal to an audience as large as Skyrim. So obviously, I mean, the audience of Morrowind Oblivion is more, it's not the ideal 8 to 28-year-old range, really, is it? It's like, they are a little bit more complicated. I mean, I discovered Oblivion through my dad. I never would have discovered Oblivion through one of my friends. All my friends were just playing Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. I discovered it through my dad. My dad always used to play Diablo when he was young, and it's the kind of game kind of directed at his older people, because it is a little bit more complicated. And my dad obviously really enjoyed it. I didn't really enjoy it when I first started, but it took a while. When I decided to learn things, you have to invest time to learn things about Oblivion, about Morrowind, to really start to get any fun from the game, and that's why it's basically it makes less money. And that leads into my third reason, since these remasters are literally just graphic updates. I mean, if you look at the Titanfall Anniversary Edition, that was just released, I mean, they added content, they fixed some bugs, they updated it to work with Steam better, so you can invite your friends. They even added mic support, which for an ancient game it's just quality. There's a lot of issues with Skyrim, like how it's literally worthless to use power attacks since they will do less damage per second compared to just normally swinging your sword. A lot of perk updates were worse than the previous upgrades, and the same went for some of the like dragon shouts, like since the level 3 dragon fire breath thing would do more damage like initially, but because of its like long cooldown it was better to use level 2 fire breath since it would be more efficient and it would just simply do more damage per second. I mean, you could probably fix you know, a lot of those things in an afternoon, you know, just open some script files, do some editing. I mean, so I don't see why Bethesda just couldn't have, you know, fixed a few things as with this Skyrim Special Edition. I mean, instead of just remastering the graphics. But obviously they're looking to make the maximum profit out of basically spending as little time as possible to, without doing any real work. I mean, if you pay someone to edit the scripts in Skyrim to make everything work, I mean, it's going to cost money, and they don't want to spend money. You know, they just want to make money. And now for my fourth reason, I'm going to talk about mods. I think when people saw that mods were finally coming to console, everyone got extremely excited and kind of forgot about all the underlining sneaky problems of that going on in the background, like for instance how many of the mods in Skyrim rely on the script extender, which means a lot of mods are simply not going to work at all on console. And now there's this issue with mods not coming out on PS4. I mean, what's going on there? I mean, it's just a complete joke. I mean, I'm obviously more of a hardcore PC player, but I generally feel sorry for PS4 players, since if I was going to play console, I'd definitely buy a PS4. I'm probably going to buy a PS4 at some point when I get my own place. I mean, it's a really good console, but now they can't get mods because of this like file type issue, which is just a complete joke, and I'm not going to talk about it because it's just stupid and boring. I mean, I don't understand why Sony can't just sort it out. I mean, you've got a completely free appeal to your game, a completely free of charge incentive for people to play Skyrim Special Edition, but they've kind of just spitting their dummies out about it. I mean, it's kind of weak. And it is kind of a problem that Bethesda are using the console mod support as a lollipop in a sweet shop to encourage people to buy this remastered game. I mean, obviously it wouldn't be a problem if console mod support was like a thing when the game was released. I mean, that's obviously not. I mean, even the fact that they're making money off other people's work, it's not that much of a. I wouldn't be that high rated about it, because I think mods with consoles I think it's a great thing. I think it should definitely happen a lot more in the future, but releasing it with this remaster is a very obvious road tactic just to get people to buy it and maybe even buy the new Xbox. Yeah, probably something going on there, isn't there? And now we're on to our last reason, and that is simply how there's like no new content going to be released with this special edition. Now, I'm not saying that there should be a huge DLC on the scale of Dragonborn or anything like that, but they could have added a few things to make the game a little bit more fresh and interesting. Like for instance adding a new skill from one of the older games, like a completely new weapon type. Could have been spears, or maybe even the mysticism magic skill, you know, reflect damage and telekinesis and all that good stuff. They could have added something like that. I mean, a little small thing. They could have added some new gear to the game, like new armor or weapon types, because you know they kind of get boring after a while. And I mean, like armor customization would have been a cool thing as well. They could have added a few more unique items. I mean, they could have added a few new quests. There are some Daedric lords missing from Skyrim, which they could have added in, or they could have fleshed out the main storyline or guild quest lines to make them a bit longer, or add some new choices. And now we're on to our last reason, and that is simply how there's like no new content going to be released with this special edition. Now, I'm not saying that there should be a huge DLC on the scale of Dragonborn or anything like that, but they could have added a few things to make the game a little bit more fresh and interesting. Like for instance adding a new skill from one of the older games, like a completely new weapon type. Could have been spears, or maybe even the mysticism magic skill, you know, reflect damage and telekinesis and all that good stuff. They could have added something like that. I mean, a little small thing. They could have added some new gear to the game, like new armor or weapon types, because you know they kind of get boring after a while. And I mean, like armor customization would have been a cool thing as well. They could have added a few more unique items. I mean, they could have added a few new quests. There are some Daedric lords missing from Skyrim, which they could have added in, or they could have fleshed out the main storyline or guild quest lines to make them a bit longer, or add some new choices. Or even, you know, they could have just added some more quests after you complete any of the guild quest lines, just to make them a little bit longer and interesting, or added extra tasks for you to do, or rather than just randomly killing. You know, when you complete Without Brotherhood, you just get these random killing things. I mean, they could have just like worked on making that a little bit more interesting. I mean, some perks could have been added or reworked. Maybe you could, you know, when you turn a skill legendary, then it unlocks some new perks. Again, just to make it a bit more fresh and interesting. I would have liked to see a new difficulty, like how there was a hardcore survival difficulty in Fallout New Vegas. I think Skyrim with a few optional survival elements would have made it a much more appealing game to some people. And there's a lot of cut content in Skyrim as well. I mean, like the Solitude Arena, why didn't they like work on restoring that cut content? I mean, Solitude Arena would have been a cool thing to just add into the game. I mean, you've practically got some of the work done, you may as well just finish it off. You know, but instead we're just getting the exact same game. I mean, maybe something will be patched into the game later on if enough people buy this game, but I think it's a bit optimistic, to be honest. But anyway, I mean, that's my little rant over, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, I probably will play Skyrim Special Edition, only because I'm going to get it for free. But I think this £35 price tag for consoles is just a little ridiculous, to be honest, for a little, you know, just a little graphic update. I have played a remaster before. I bought the Fable Anniversary Edition, it is also, you know, it's at a pretty steep price, especially as it's been out for 2 years now, and it's still like over £20. But I obviously bought it in a sale for about £7, and that is like the precise worth of a graphic remaster, since essentially you're paying for an E&B mod. I think the business model is just completely wrong. These remastered games should just be like £10 DLCs at the most. I mean, maybe when it's an older game, maybe a little bit more, but there's no real point in having a remaster as a separate release as well, because I bet people are going to still buy the normal version of Skyrim, and then discover it as a remaster, and then have to buy the whole game all over again. I think Bethesda know people are going to make that mistake, and they're just going to like take advantage of it. But anyway, that's it for this video. My name is the Metagoblin, and until my next video. Oh yeah, one last thing. Obviously, check the video link in the description for similar and more videos like this. My name is the Metagoblin, and until my next video, ciao.